This is a widescreen compilation of 4 of my short videos. The rocket launcher's primary fire. The rocket launcher's primary fire will launch a rocket with a 1-second cooldown shared by all rocket launchers, meaning if you switch variants it won't skip the cooldown. Hitting a surface will create a harmless explosion to push players and enemies. For example, by walking forward and jumping right before firing, you can do a rocket jump. Hitting an enemy directly will create a 3.5 damage explosion, but if a grounded enemy is airborne, it will create a large red explosion dealing 7 damage, though it will always do 35 self-damage to the player. This means doubling damage is as simple as firing another rocket at their feet, ground slamming near them, or even using the whiplash. This will also stop soldiers from blocking 75% of the damage. Rockets will bounce off of the malicious face unless they're covered in gasoline. Rockets hitting the face while on the whiplash will detonate, but will still do no damage. They will also detonate when hitting a magnet, coin, or when shot at with a hit scan. But hitting them with an explosive hit scan, i.e. jackhammered cores, rockets, or the malicious rail cannon beam will cause a nuke, increasing the explosion damage and largely increasing the explosion radius. Player rockets are attracted to magnets when the magnet is attached to an enemy. When hitting a magnet-attached enemy with a rocket 3 times, the magnet will break. Gutter tank rockets will be pulled regardless of what the magnet is attached to. Jumping on a rocket will let you ride it. This is done easier with the Freezeframe variant. While standing on it, it can be controlled with the movement keys. Rockets being ridden are slower and will lose power over time until you jump off. After riding 3 rockets in a row, each rocket after will start with less power. This will reset when touching the ground. Rockets will not lose power while underwater. You can use the whiplash to pull in rockets, making them explode unless you're above them and falling, which will instead cause you to ride them. Explosions from pulling rockets will also turn red if they hit you in the air. Rockets have high coin priority, right behind other coins, and equal to cores. Rockets cannot be targeted by coins if they are being ridden. You can still jackhammer or nuke a rocket while riding it. They have the ability to conduct electricity similar to coins and grounded magnets. Finally, rockets do 150% damage to S.R.S, making it deal 5.25 damage normally, or 10.5 damage if hit with the red explosion from air shots or frozen rockets. The Freezeframe. The Freezeframe's alt fire will toggle all rockets to freeze mid-air for up to 5 seconds and requiring 10 seconds to recharge from empty to full. It can be toggled at any time, given there's enough charge to keep them frozen. The effect turns off automatically if there's no time left or if all rockets are destroyed while freeze is active. The alt fire includes gutter tank rockets. This weapon makes it very easy to start riding a rocket, and they can be redirected before unfreezing. You can even start riding and turning gutter tank rockets. Riding a gutter tank's rocket back into them will give the round trip style bonus and insta-kill them, but it needs to be the same gutter tank that fired it. When frozen, a rocket will lock onto the nearest enemy with a magnet in them, but only if the magnet is placed before the rocket is fired. Rockets frozen for 1 second will become freeze charged, turning blue and producing a red explosion as if it was an air shot, boosting the damage to 7. Gutter tank rockets will not freeze charge until you start riding them. Finally, while frozen, rockets cannot be pushed by street cleaners. The S.R.S Cannon. The S.R.S Cannon's ult charges a cannonball with an 8-second cooldown, dealing 2 to 5 damage depending on time charged, though you only need to charge it 25% of the way to get the full damage. Cannonballs that hit the ground will create a shockwave pushing lighter enemies upwards. When hitting an enemy, it will bounce back upwards once. Cannonballs shot with a hit scan will explode for 5 damage or up to 50 self-damage to the player. Cannonballs can be punched with the feedbacker to boost them at high speeds, setting the damage to the max of 5. Boosted cannonballs cannot bounce on enemies but will instead pierce up to 2 targets, or will break on a target with high enough health to survive. If the cannonball was bounced before punching it, the damage will instead increase to 7 and have infinite pierce, unless once again it hits an enemy with enough health to survive. The cannonball can be pulled by the whiplash, allowing you to punch it even if it's at a distance. While on the whiplash, it still deals damage. Cannonballs, when hitting the Sisyphean insurrectionist, will cancel their attack and stun them if they are on the ground. If they're falling down when they get hit, they'll be stunned for even longer. Finally, S.R.S take 200% damage from the cannonball, letting you kill them with only 1 if you hit them and then punch it back after it bounces. Though this technique is already powerful enough to kill a Virtue or Sentry without the modifier. The Firestarter. The Firestarter's ult will spew gasoline on surfaces and enemies. It can spray for up to 3 seconds straight and takes 8 seconds to fill from empty to full. You are unable to start spraying it if the meter is below 25%. It sprays gas at 30 drops per second. Gasoline can be set on fire by most explosives. Gas burns every fire tick or 0.5 seconds. Burning gas on the ground will deal 1 damage or 10 self-damage every fire tick. A pool of gas will burn for 6 seconds before slowly disappearing. Gas on an underwater surface will explode rather than burning. Every drop of gas that hits an enemy adds 0.1 fuel up to 5 fuel maximum. Every fire tick that hits a burning enemy will consume 0.175 of their current fuel. Burning gas on an enemy will deal 0.5 damage every tick. Once fuel runs out, the burning gas will disappear. Soldiers and malicious faces lose their resistance to explosives when covered in gasoline. Fire does 50% damage to schisms, but will deal 200% damage to Sisyphean insurrectionists. And any flammable enemy will take 150% damage from non-explosives while on fire. Those currently being Filth, Strays, Schisms, Soldiers, and the Insurrectionist. Finally, the gasoline is very slippery, allowing for more methods of fast movement.